A caltrop is an area denial weapon designed to stop the enemy. The caltrop is a sturdy, simple, yet effective weapon no matter its position. Its purpose was originally designed to stop elephant and donkey attacks. It graduated to stopping tanks. And now, the caltrop is your defense against propaganda, polished lies, and manufactured outrage. It's free from counterfeit credibility and synthetic truth. However, inside the walls of the caltrop, you're going to be forced to think. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Mike Calderese is the caltrop.
From the heaven to the hell, the mic Calderese, the caltrop, he never stops, so ring the bell. He bring the facts, he's been up every morning till we sleep. He get it deep, Mike Calderese, in your head and in your sheets. And we don't mind, and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the caltrop. And we don't mind, and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the caltrop. And we
Good evening and welcome to a special edition, a local edition of the Caltrop. This is going to be obviously the Brick Breakdown edition. And I have got a special guest for you. I didn't expect to go live. He said, let's go live. I can't wait to see what type of fireworks that he brings out. But I have a guest. His name is Marc Vasquez. He is I believe, the vice president, going to be soon to be president of the Brick Republican Club. And we are going to be discussing all things brick politics, what happened in the election, what are their thoughts. And as many of you know who has watched the channel, has not been a lot of love that has been lost for the last 2 months between us, the brick Republicans, and the whole 9 yards. So I hope to bring him in, and he said, let's go live. He's man enough to step on the stage and step to the caltrop. I love it, dude. You're a man of your word. You said, let's do it this date. Let's do it live. And we are here. Everybody, this is Marc Vasquez. Why don't you give everybody a quick skinny of who you are, bro?
Yeah, man. No, I mean, appreciate you having me on. Number one, I think it's important that we discuss. Maybe we may not always agree, but having the opportunity to have a discussion is huge. And so I'm Marc Vasquez. I'm the current first vice president of the Brick Republican organization in Brick Township. I was just recently elected to become the president. I'll be the youngest Republican president in its history. One of the biggest things I think I pride myself on is just, and the same thing with Mike, is that we love our home, and we believe that, through our methodologies, right, whether it's through his show, it's through the Republican organization, our goal is to make our home better for the long run, right? I want to see my kids grow up here. When we have kids, I want them to go through our school system. I want to live here, retire here. And so, that's the focus. And so that's what we do, and we care enough, right? So when Mike said, listen, we don't agree at this point on something, let's get on the show and do it, I said, I'm happy to do it after the election. And so here we are today. So thank you, Mike.
Oh, no problem. And one of the things that you said was you were gonna prove me wrong or whatever it is. So I want to give you the floor just to start off to kind of air whatever grievances you have with me or whatever it is, bro. Like let's get it out and clear the air really quick.
Yeah. So I think when we're talking about that, it's all important to talk about context, right? And so when it comes to the brick breakdown, right, and what impact did the brick breakdown have in terms of the actual election or the overall results of the election? I really do believe that there are a group of people, and I think that's probably between the ages of 30 to 55, somewhere around there, that are probably the majority of your listeners. You probably have more right-leaning listeners than anybody else, at a local level. But with that said, I don't think, because we didn't do the debate on your podcast or on your show, that the team, when they decided not to come on to do additional interviews, that's the reason why we lost the election. If we look at the numbers and we see what historically happened, and I'm very proud of what we were able to accomplish as a team this year. I mean, again, if you look at what we lost by over 3,000 votes in 2023, got slammed in 21. This year we lost less than 500 votes. I think it was like 422 votes at the end of the day for mayor. But then we crushed it in terms of the council team. And again, we were one out of two races in the entire state that took seats away from Democrats, right? And not only that, but we were the ones that took the most amount of seats away from Democrats than any election in the state of New Jersey. So how was it there was an anomaly, right? Some people love to call Brick Township the People's Republic of Brick because it's super unique in the fact that how people vote, right? They've gone down the line. They remember the Acropolis days. And then they jump over and they go vote for the Democrats because they're worried about the problems. I think what wasn't, in terms of what could we have done differently, right? I mean, it was a tough year in terms of fundraising, and that's because Jack Ciattarelli was pulling at every facet. All the professionals were informing us. They were giving as much as they possibly could, but it was tight this year. You had a big race going on, and those dollars, right? We would love to have done 25 different more flats and put out more messaging about specific stuff. There were specific things as a team we agreed upon not to talk about because we knew who we were facing. Mitch Symes, a really good operative on the Democrat side, right? He knows what he's doing. His goal is to get us to talk about the things he wants us to talk about. And the moment you step into that trap, it becomes a trap. And in 23, that was something that we did. Every time there was something that was put out, we put out the facts, the documentation, the proof. Somehow we still lost. We had close to, I think it was almost $500,000 that we had spent in 23. This year, we spent a fraction of that. This is probably the cheapest campaign that's been run in over a decade, or probably 30 years, probably now. And so we did a lot of stuff. I mean, 70% of districts were knocked. We did mailers. Our social media game was unmatched. I mean, there was nobody else in the state that gave Jack Ciattarelli, in terms of a local club, that much exposure, hundreds of thousands of views. We were, I think, at the end of the day, from the whole campaign, 2.7 million views, over 850,000 in the last 30 days of the election itself. And so we were making a lot of noise. And it's a combination of you talking about things, the Brick Times putting stuff out, OCCN putting stuff out, and using that to our advantage, right? We were trying to be a bit more strategic because we knew dollars were going to be tight this year because of that race. And so I'm very proud of what the team did. I'm proud of Madeline's hard work. I'm proud of the council team winning, right? Now people have a say. It's good. There's going to be a balance, right? Where the Democrats can't just push something through without being questioned. If there's a problem, I believe that these people are going to do that. So I already said a lot. I kind of want to stop because there's probably some things to break down in there, but
there's a lot. I wrote a lot about that. So no, go ahead. I want to give you a chance to talk though.
Yeah. So, but in terms of when we were specifically talking about proving you wrong, in the sense that if I look at the numbers of what the brick breakdown brings, right, and I compare that to the council and to the mayor's race, I don't believe that because we missed those things, that's why we lost the election. If we look at the data is pretty clear. It's those senior areas that your show probably doesn't even reach to, right? Those heavy Greenbrier areas where I think in time your show will grow there. But those are the areas that hurt us the most. And that's historically has been, but we were able to break it down heavily. I mean, in the past, it was like 20 plus points that we lost by. Then election day, we lose less than 1 point, right? I mean, those are big numbers and strides moving in the right direction. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of noise and I would love to answer any questions you have, but in terms of how did we get impacted by the brick breakdown? Again, it's a great opportunity to find exposure where there's exposure, but it didn't lose us the election because we didn't do, necessarily what you had asked or what you wanted. And so that was where I was saying I would like to prove you wrong in terms of that. And we could definitely discuss that.
Yeah, no, if you think that this show didn't help out the mayor when she came on right after you guys, turned me down for the debate, and if you think that losing by 400 votes that couldn't have swung 200 of those 400, my problem honestly with your campaign is you didn't let's just talk about this real quick. Okay, let's talk about the actual numbers. All right, because you have 17,000 votes that Mayor Crate got, and you have 16,649. So yeah, that's 400 and some odd votes. By the way, yep. The brick breakdown accurately predicted the results of this, and they were the first ones to call this with the exact number between 400 and 500 votes for the mayor, just to kind of talk that out there again. Now, when you look at Lisa Reyna beat, the mayor by 700 votes, 650 votes. Greg Cohen beat the mayor by 70 some odd votes, and Perry Albanese is the exact same thing. So something clearly was amiss with how Madeline was viewed versus everybody else. Now, the way I view it a certain way. How do you view that result? Because I want to give you a chance to talk before I really even say anything. How do you view that particular result, and why do you think that happened? What's the message there behind that?
Yeah, and I think it's clear that there was people who did not want to vote and we could even tell between both numbers that they didn't even want to vote for Crate, but they didn't want to vote for Madeline either. They had no interest in voting. And then there was a subsection of people that just didn't believe in Madeline's message, or believed that Madeline could be the right candidate for this. Maybe they didn't enjoy what was put out there. I mean, there's a plethora of different things that could be. What I truly do believe it was, and if I'm looking at the data and we're going through district by district, and you look at the districts where Madeline lost the most, it's in those heavy senior districts, right? Those big number senior districts that have always decided these elections. And so while we did make stride in pulling votes away, there was still enough votes. And again, we had predicted it. And had you talked to me before this campaign and you asked me what the numbers were going to be, and we predicted this prior, that it was going to come down to 500 votes or less. We knew that it was either going to sway one way or the other when it comes to mayor. And the reason is that Democrats have had over 10 years of name recognition, right?
So
people
Mike,
don't.
I'm going to stop you right there. If you knew it was going to be 500 votes or less, why didn't you do everything possible to get those 500 votes? And the bottom line is, when you discount one thing over the other, you said this before. You said this multiple times to me, Mark. And it's one of the things that really bothers me about this entire thing. I highly doubt that they're going to be not voting for this person. You said to me multiple times that you have a right-wing audience. They're probably voting for Madeline anyway. Where I got news for you. You look at these numbers, plain and simple. 15,000. Heather DeJong got 15,141. Your Republicans beat them by 2,000 votes, and you still lost. That's because you didn't reach out. That's because you didn't do enough to separate yourself with Madeline. You ran a nationwide campaign with Make Brick Great Again. I don't even know what the hell that meant. All right. And when you're talking about 400 type of votes, you have to go to every single little outlet to gain 10, to gain 50, to gain that way. You won the election with your council. There is a big miss here. Somebody doesn't trust somebody. And that's what I really want to drill down on, because you really didn't answer that question. Where is that miss? Because you won everything you guys did, you got enough votes. You got enough votes. It wasn't the area, Mark. It wasn't the old people. It wasn't anything. Lisa Rinna won this election. It's plain and simple. 17-7-1-11, okay, to Mayor Crate's 17-0-0-71. Lisa Rinna won this election. She is a Republican. She was on your ticket. And your own mayor candidate got, 700 to 1,000 votes less than her. What went wrong for Madeline in particular?
Again, and if you're asking me, first off, I think there's something to address first. Number one, to address the fact that, for instance, there was an event done by Mike Crispy, Mary Lou, and a few others. As a campaign manager, I was never invited or reached out to. We never discussed that. When I told you it wasn't necessarily important for us to be there, number one, to get involved with that organization is not an interest of ours, right? Because all they've done is attacked and lied and spread false information that confuses people.
What does that mean?
Which I believe hurt. Now,
to get up on the stage, take video of Madeline talking. She's on the pedestal. You're one of these web guys. Why didn't you have her all over delivering a message like Chris Pollock did in Jackson? Chris Pollock didn't spend anything on his campaign. He got his face out there. He was talking. He was separating himself. Mark, the Republicans ran a worse Republican campaign than the Democrats. They out-Republicaned you. They again labeled you as the high tax party, like they've been labeling you for the last 15 years or 12 years since Acropolis. Your party has never defended Acropolis, not one day. Now, that's way before you were there, so I'm not going to give you crap for that. But that Brick Republican Club has never defended that man. You guys allowed yourself to be labeled the high tax party. I warned you about this sitting in your office in March, right? We could both agree on this, where I said you guys are labeled the high tax party, and you allowed them to win the high tax argument with Madeline. That's why I believe you had a lot of Republicans that went Jack Chittarelli, Republican, Mayor Crate, back to Lisa Rinna, boom, boom, boom. All right, that is what took place in this election. You have Republicans come out and vote for Mayor Crate, and I want to know why you think that happened.
So I just want to finish my statement because I never got to make my point here. Sorry. So when we're talking about that event, and that's specifically what you're addressing as to when I told you it wasn't important for us to go there. It was more important for us to go to knock on doors, which that day they had spent the entire day. And not only that, they had an assemblyman who was willing to come out that they had already made an appointment with to go door knock. That's how you win elections. You don't win elections just being on a video, right? Chris Pollock, yes, I think he spoke to a group of people. He did the right thing for the right place at the right time. And I think that's what helped him win that message. And I don't disagree. He ran a good campaign. right? He
He
spent very
wasn't
little
knocking on
money.
a lot of doors. He was going to events, and
Yeah,
he
he
was
was going
doing
to
videos.
events. We were at almost
people
every
knew his
public
name.
event. We were almost at every public event in Brick Township, right? Every church event, every picnic event there was, every charity event there was possibly that we can get to. They were door knocking. They door knocked over 70%, right? The messaging was not different between Lisa Reyna and Madeline. And the
Well,
only
what
thing
was the message?
and the message was very clear. This town, right? Again,
Make Brick great again. You had Trump on half of your ads, bro.
yeah,
What
because
message? What were they even running on?
if you look at data, let's talk about data. If you look at data,
Okay.
anybody who aligns themselves with Donald Trump, right, has a higher chance of success rate in an election than those who try to separate themselves.
I think that's worthless data. Prove that to me, bro. Because Republicans have a problem because they cannot win when Trump is not on the ballot. When Trump's on the ballot, Republicans win. When he's not, historically, they have not won.
Council?
So I don't know where you get that data from.
How did
this
we
is
win
not.
council?
They ran the Mayor Crate and her team ran a better Republican campaign than you guys, and what they did was they targeted the elderly community with ads, and it made you guys look like the high tax Democrats, and it made them look like the low tax Republicans. They have done this to you year after year after year, and it's taken place. I have all of them. I have Mike, last year's. This was Catalano. I gave this to you, bro.
Yeah,
re-elect
we have all that.
0%.
Again,
yeah, but why
we addressed it?
Why didn't you use this? Zero tax increase. Why didn't you label her? Why didn't you label her the high taxer? You allowed yourself to be labeled the high tax party again, bro.
Again, if you're trying to ask me why are we not repeating their message, which is the direct no for again, if you're working against Mitch Symes, right, and you go, that's the whole goal of his, right?
You helped Mitch Symes.
No, okay.
Everything you guys were doing were helping him out. Mitch Symes is watching this right now going, Mike was right. You should just listen to him. I would have made it much more difficult on him.
Let's go back to 23. 23, we had, I think it was 11 pieces that went out. We struck on the lies of taxes. We brought up documentation that defended Acropolis's record, that told the truth between the lies of what they've put out there. Right?
You've never done that. Where was that, Mark? Mark, stop it, because this entire
how
thing
are you going to tell me to stop it if I'm telling if I'm giving
you're
you
not,
the answer?
Because you're not telling me the truth. Because
I am telling you.
Mayor Crate ran. They have been running against Acropolis for up until this year was the first year they have not run against Acropolis. Your club has never done anything to defend that man. Never. It took him sitting in my chair and really breaking ground on the brick breakdown to really clear the air on what his reign as mayor actually was. Up until then, nobody knows. They still think he's the one that raised taxes. Your party has never addressed that. That is what
Mike.
I think. I think that no, you have not. Not in any meaningful way. You have not.
Not only did we address it, but we paid for advertising for it, and that did not help at all. Why? Because when you
where was this advertising, Mark?
This was on social media. There was documentation. There was printed.
You think
material.
2 months? You think 2 months of advertising is going to change 12 years of a narrative? That's why I told you this in March. This is why I sat down and said, "Hey, you guys need to address this now."
You're misunderstanding. I'm talking about in 23. In 23, we tested out what you wanted us to do exactly, right? You said you need to talk about, and this was in March. You said we need to talk about taxes, and you guys are the high tax party, right? And if you want to fix it, that's how you address it. The reality is when we looked at it as a strategy, we looked at what we did in 23, and that's exactly what we did. That's what was talked at the door. That was on the pomp cards. That was information we provided. We provided the actual documentation that proved what they were saying was lies. So I'm going to repeat the same thing, right? Which is why the focus became, and as a team, we agreed the focus needs to really be on overdevelopment, because that is an issue that is impacting everybody at every corner of this town. Doesn't matter where you live, it impacts you, period. So we're going to control the narrative, right, on talking about that.
You didn't.
But again, explain to me how we were one of two towns in the entire state, 2 elections, period, that took seats away from Democrats.
Easy. You should take the fact that you didn't take everything is absolutely atrocious in Ocean County in Brick, New Jersey, when it went from 68% to 70%.
So does it not matter that we got less than 1 point on election day when we've been over 20-point deficit?
No, the fact that you didn't take everything in this election to me is an abysmal failure in Bricktown, and I think there's a reason for it. And I've been very vocal about this reason, Mark. The reason why Madeline did not win is because you did not separate her from Mayor Crate. They were able to put high taxes on you, and they were able to make it seem like Mayor Crate was the fiscal conservative and Madeline was not. That's why you had Republicans go to Mayor Crate and not you. I'm not saying the brick breakdown had anything to do with it, even though the brick breakdown said I like divided government and I think the Republican candidates are going to win and Mayor Crate was going to lose. Let's put that aside, okay? The bottom line is when you look at brick residents, I think it's an indictment on Mayor Crate and I think it's an indictment on your club. That's the way I read this. I read this as the people of Brick want divided government, but they don't like who's behind the Republicans and they don't like who's behind the Democrats. Your guys' campaign was about as sleazy as I think I could see ever. And if I'm not saying you and both of you, I think it was full of lies. I think it was full of garbage. I think some of the stuff that you did was good. And then I texted you when I thought you did some things bad. But the camp, especially, listen, and I'll give you this. I don't think you guys were anywhere near as sleazy as them. Calling Madeline old and the whole 9 yards. I don't know how that won over the older people, honestly. But I think there was an absolute indictment on your leadership. And I'm not saying you specifically, but you were the campaign leader. Who's behind Madeline and who was behind Mayor Crate? I think it was an indictment on both. And I think we got divided government. But they still have control.
And again, I mean, I could tell you in 4 years from now, I think I'm pretty confident that we're going to take all 4 seats. I don't see a problem. I think in the next mayoral election, it's over. The Republicans come back.
Why didn't you debate? Why didn't you do the debate?
So the debate, and again, let's take a step back as to why we didn't come back on the show. When first off,
well, you want to know why? I can tell you why, but go ahead. What's your reasoning?
Oh yeah, no. So when we discussed it, and actually, I could tell you very straightforwardly that I was one of the people who thought that they should go on your show because I thought it would be worse to have you start opening, going off on us because if we didn't do this or why, right? But what Mark, we did was
let's cut
as a team, we decided and we took a vote, and I said we brought up the good and the bad side of things, and we decided that going and doing a debate at this point would only be a trap because if Mitch Scheim is pushing Lisa Crate to go on a debate, it's for the same purposes of what they did with everything else. It's to chop up what they need, and it does not matter because people, again, if people looked at the details, people would know that it's not the mayor that taxes control. They know it would be the council, but people don't pay attention to those details. I think people are waking up to that now because it's starting to hurt. But if someone watches a debate, people are going to take the highlights of the debate. And if you spend money to pick out the right pieces, the same way they picked out the piece that she said that this town was horrible, right? Madeline did not want to go and do a debate, right? Where it was playing on their field. We anticipated that you were probably going to ask a question specifically on the pay for the DPW, which the moment that if Madeline was for it or against it would have been used against her, however she said it, right? So there was a lot of concern.
So you're proving my point, Mark. You guys played scared. You fought scared. You were too worried about what was going to be used against you instead of going on the attack.
Yeah, but
you were too busy playing defense instead of playing offense.
You don't play towards your weakness. You play on your strengths because
what were her strengths? All I saw was weaknesses coming out of you guys. You made her look weak by not doing it. You made her look very weak by not going on the show.
One of the top videos that we advertised was her statement on the school board explaining the BS lies against that tax increase. That's what they used, and that was the whole formula of their plan, right?
I got 10,000 views without promoting it, Mark. When I did my analysis, that
over 100,000 views, right?
That's great. It didn't work
on that video alone,
it's
right?
Paid for,
absolutely, and the engagement rate was so high, right? Hundreds of likes, hundreds of shares, right? That means people are engaging, and we're looking at the data, right? And we're wondering, okay, is this a message that works, right? We put it in the newspaper. People got multiple newspapers. There was advertising again, but the major focus of what we were hearing back at the doors wasn't taxes. It was overdevelopment. If taxes was the biggest concern of people at the doors, which means people are having a conversation, you're hearing directly from the people of the town, right? We've knocked 70% of the doors, and the number one issue is development. That's what we're going to sit on. That's where her focus is. Because as a mayor, yes, you can play whatever game you can play into their playing field, which is taxes, which we haven't won in 12 years. Why would I go back and try to do that same losing strategy? Is try to rebut what we've been rebutting for 12 years. So instead,
your strategy was run Trump and overdevelopment when you could have ran a good 3-point plan with her of stopping overdevelopment, lowering taxes. And the bottom line is you didn't go at Crate and label her anything. Once again, the things that bother me about you guys is I gave you this picture on a silver platter. and you don't use it. You don't take advantage of it. And I get you didn't have much money, but you didn't label her anything. The Republicans, every single time, and you bring this guy Mitch up, like, I give a shit who this guy is. I get it. He's a professional campaign guy, but I thought that's what you were supposed to be.
Yeah. And again, what in terms of how you play strategy when you're in politics isn't just, oh, free nilly-willy it, right? Again, Chris Pollock might have done a free nilly-willy, right? And he's focused on the message that he wanted to focus on and didn't care what he was going to say, right? Which caused him some strife along the way, right? He pulled
They called the guy a pedophile and he won by 5,000
they went on
votes.
for different things. But again, when you have to understand what are your strengths and weaknesses in your candidates, you have to play on their strengths at all time because you don't have enough time to make up for the losses on the weak part of the conversation.
As a party, why did you pick a candidate that you knew you were gift wrapping a high tax argument for Mitch? So if you're so concerned about this guy Mitch and what he's going to do, you gift wrapped the same way he's been attacking you. You took a candidate, you gift wrapped a candidate and say, here, Mitch, attack Madeline on her high taxes. That's what you guys did.
I'd be very careful.
Hey, Madeline's the school board that raised your taxes, and you guys did nothing about it. As I'm screaming about it.
Yeah. Again, we did not gift wrap Madeline. Madeline is a strong leader. No, she's a great leader, and you guys did nothing to help her out. And if you were so worried about this guy Mitch, why did you allow Madeline to be labeled the high tax woman when you knew that's how they were going to attack you? Because that's all they have. You said you're changing strategy. Well, that's what they've been beating you with. Again, if I'm going to play in their playing field, right, and I know what their campaign manager is going to do with the information that we put out there, right, I am going to have a weaker stance on that, right? Because Republicans, the reality of it is if it wasn't for the Republicans that did the increase and the people that in the town voted for it, you would have lost 30% of your police. You would have lost public works, certain parts of public works, right? Or DPW. Things would have been tougher for this town, right? Taxes would have been increasing majorly over the years. Then Ducey comes in, tells everybody, I'm being responsible, uses the money that the Republicans got, right, to balance the budget, to make it look right, gets the money that they got from FEMA to make it look like they were paying down debt, and they lied to everybody the entire time. So why
they got FEMA money this year too? They got
obviously because there's still payouts from the things that the Republicans did, right? But we've talked about those things, and that never changed the message. So and I could tell you, we made sure people understood, and that was a huge part of the message, that it was because of Madeline's leadership, direct leadership on that school board, that we were not like Toms River, we were not like Jackson, we didn't sell a school, we didn't raise taxes 12.9% or forced by the governor. We did a little bit over 5%. That was the balance. Not one teacher was lost. That's good leadership. That's good governance. That's what we were talking about. We're not going to sit here and rebuttal every bad little thing that they say.
While you're sending, I got all the mailers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got all the mailers.
Yeah.
While you were sending nationwide Make Brick Great Again mailers to the elderly community, they were sending targeted ads to them, making it seem like Madeline's the reason why they're paying more in taxes.
What was in the mailers?
You didn't see these?
No, I saw them. I'm asking you, what was in the mailers?
I just read one off for you. Do you want me to go get them? I think they're outside in the other room.
Yeah, again,
the mailer was Mayor Crate and Madeline Iannarone in each side, and one said it was modest tax increases, $37, and the other one had $474, and you were in blue and they were in red.
Okay,
it made you look like the high tax Democrat. Now, your mailers, you know what your mailers were? Your mailers are Make Brick Great Again with the entire team sitting there and talking about overdevelopment in the elderly community. They targeted them with a high tax. You're the high tax spending liberal and we're the fiscal conservative. You heard it when she was sitting next to me on my show when she took full advantage of that. She sat next to me in this house. She showed up with no notes and sounded like a fiscal conservative. I was interviewing a Republican at that point. I wasn't interviewing a Democrat. I was interviewing a Republican. Okay. And that's the way they played this entire thing. They got the votes that they needed to get. But the crazy part is, I don't think you're grasping this, Mark. Like, you guys won the election, but you lost at the exact same time. And I don't know if you have come to grips with the fact that why that statement was actually made. That is an absolute indictment against everybody, your organization and Mayor Crate. Do you accept that at all?
So I don't accept your thought process on that it was an indictment, right? Again, if I'm looking at historical numbers, if I'm looking at historical numbers, how did we get historic?
This is a special election. When have you ever seen this?
This was not a special election.
Stop messing with his history.
This was a standard election. This was not a special election. This was a standard election for mayor and council.
And have you ever seen Republicans sweep the council seat and lose a mayor seat? Where does that happen historically?
Again, nobody's happy that we lost the mayor seat. What I'm trying to explain to you is that if I look at historical data and I go, you've lost by 18 plus points on an average for the last how many elections there was since the Democrats have taken over, and then for you to get to less than 500 points on election night, less than 1 point in terms of winning, right? It wasn't that we didn't do a good job, right? Could we have done a bit if we had more money? Could we have put more mailers out and talked about specific? Absolutely. But we had to play on what was our strengths within our budget and what we could do, right? At the doors, they were happy to answer any question about taxes or the realities of the taxes. It's exactly why we put a newspaper together to explain how these budgets worked and what happened. It's exactly why we focused on overdevelopment. And Madeline led the way on all that. Yeah, again, there was no difference in the messaging except making Madeline look more of the main leader, right? Because that's what you always do, is you always make sure that the mayor has the majority focus and then the rest of them come through, right? So obviously Madeline was getting the most attention of the focus, which her videos, all the stuff that we're putting out, everything that we're talking, everybody that we're talking to. I never heard her
speaking, Mark. I never heard her speaking.
She went to a forum at the.
And that's the point about that other brick thing, man. You could have had cameras on her, get her up on the podium talking about it, getting her message out. She could have been out there way more. I never heard her speak at all about her platform and her vision for America. Nobody had any clue who Madeline actually was. And
that's
I think
because
you got the Republican votes.
You never showed up to any of her fundraisers. You never showed up. You showed up.
It doesn't matter. Exactly. Nobody does. How many people showed up to those fundraisers? You get 100 people. You're trying to get thousands of people to vote, Mark. 53%
you're explaining the exact same thing to me. You're telling me that I should go to these other events, right, where there's less than 200 people there,
and then use them to your advantage. You guys are social media people.
So
get her talking on podiums. Get her on camera. You take her clips on what she says to the people on camera, and you put her message out. You guys never got her message out. I said to her when we were on the Sean Scott bike ride that, what is your message? I still don't even know what your message is. Mm-hmm. And I told everybody there that you guys were going to lose, and here were the reasons why, and you lost for those reasons. Exactly what they were going to do to you, they did. I've been trying to spell it out for you guys for months. I don't know why you didn't take a listen to me. And you talk about the brick breakdown and where it goes out. So here's the bottom line, Mark. What happened with us, if we really want to clear the air?
Absolutely.
What happened with us is your guys started making anonymous claims on my page. When you guys could have came on here and asked me honestly, hey, are you taking money from the Democrats? And you could look at their statements and mine. I haven't taken money from anybody, but you make anonymous quotes. This is your guy now, okay? He's the one that came on and started this entire thing. And I never came at you guys. As a matter of fact, can you say up until that point that I was not completely incredibly fair to you guys?
I think there were certain things that could be questioned, but
like what?
Near hearsay.
Like what?
Going and praising the mayor.
No. You don't say something like that without backing it up.
Okay,
like,
so you go and praise the mayor for something that she didn't do. So you praise the mayor, right? Why? Number one, in an election season, if you're being fair and you give praise to a mayor for something she didn't do, that's not a fair stance, right?
What did I give praise to her that she didn't do? Charlie Kirk event that you tried to blame her on? That I think was stupid?
She had nothing to do with the Charlie Kirk event.
She allowed it to happen. True or false?
She has no decision on whether it was allowed or not.
Her and Joanne allowed that to take place. True or false? Yes. So I think a little bit of grace. They would have done brick Republicans a lot of grace if they would have just thanked her, and would have made them look very good. Instead, what did you guys do? You attacked her.
She never reached out to us to tell us that we could use the property.
It doesn't matter, bro.
Again,
she led a propaganda campaign by a dude that has just been completely discredited. Come into our town, okay, and run a rally where it rallied the people of Bricktown under really disgusting pretenses. The people that ran that I don't approve of, and you know that. She was there, was wearing that in the face. Her and Joanne were there the entire time. I think a little bit of grace during that type of situation would have been warranted, saying, hey, you know what, Mayor? You allowed this to take place. It got out of control. You could have just said no. She could have said no. They could have not allowed it. They didn't file for permits. So the fact is she did something in this situation, realizing what was going on. And that's what you don't get. She understands the people she's speaking to better than I think you guys did. Because she knew what was going on there and she showed up there. So you know what? Yes,
If the mayor thought that
the brick breakdown said, thank you, Mayor.
Let's
for
put
being
this in
gracious.
perspective real quick, Mike. If the mayor ever thought that she could, or Joanne could ever cancel an event that almost had 4,000 people show up to an event, right? Do you think that politically that would make sense? These people don't do things because they really care. They do it because it does matter.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter. Because if it was the other way around, you'd probably call us out by saying, oh, look, the Republicans are not doing this or that. The same reason you're calling me out that we didn't go to an event that had nothing to do with us when we were spending time meeting people at the doors and talking to those people.
Event that brick Republicans weren't
It was not a Republican event that was sanctioned by the Republican organization.
A Republican event in Bricktown that brick Republicans weren't at. Sorry, I thought that was never.
We were never contacted. I was never contacted about joining this.
Do I know that before I make my reports? No, Mark, but you guys had a problem with it.
I told you
that.
But
I thought it was a little wacky that the brick Republicans were not at a brick Republican event.
Because it's not brick Republicans. There was never brick Republicans. Mike Crispy has an organization in some
I get
other
that now,
some
but
other
nobody
town.
else does. This is optical type stuff.
It's only optical because you made it optical. You were the only person reporting it as the brick Republican organization, Mike. That had nothing.
That's
to do
my
with
job.
Us.
This is what I've been doing.
But you're reporting it bad. You're doing a bad job by reporting false
don't get
information.
mad at me because you guys
Mike,
look bad.
You're reporting false
you
information.
brick Republicans are split. You had the group split off from you, so you're splintered. You guys are trying to play like you're not. You absolutely are. You have two different factions, and the brick Republicans were not at a brick Republican event. I did not report that inaccurately. Just because you look bad does not mean that it's my fault.
That doesn't make us look bad, Mike, because first off, there was never a brick Republican.
It made Jack look bad.
Jack didn't show up. I don't know why Jack didn't show up. I thought he was supposed to be there. They lied to everybody.
It made everybody look bad,
and told everybody that Jack was going to be there, and Jack didn't show up. I'm glad that we had nothing to do that with. That was never us. And yes, there is a faction of people whose egos are too big, right? That they, instead of trying to build up, again, I was at the bottom of the totem pole. I built over the years to get where I am, right? It wasn't because I did somebody a favor, I did the work. Had those people followed the rules and stayed in this organization and did the work, just like Mary Lou, I used to love Mary Lou. But then her ego got in the way, making false claims and starting to do extra stuff.
Everyone's ego's in the way, Mark. But all of your egos are in the way. You can't say that about your own party. When I watched it happen, I didn't join your party years ago for a reason. It's because I looked at it and I started laughing when I left. When I left you guys, I started laughing, bro. And I told you this. I said all this to your face before I've ever said this out loud.
I think it was 2 years ago when I called you and you told me, you disagreed about a bunch of different things. And I challenged you and I said, come be part of the organization.
But I was right then and I'm right now. And you guys consistently, you started this off by downplaying the impact of the brick breakdown. Well, I got to tell you something. The mayor used this quite effectively and she stole Republican votes. The brick breakdown accurately. The brick breakdown when I put my stuff out.
Mike,
the brick breakdown accurately put out what was happening.
Go find me the 422 people from your show, and get me the names and the addresses.
The fact that you discount the show for bringing anybody, Mark, is the reason why you guys lost. I love that you come on and you've defended your lack of interest in picking up 30, 40, 50 votes here, 50 votes here, 50 votes there. If you knew, you said earlier, you knew it was going to be within 500 votes. Mm-hmm. If you really knew that, then you would have been doing everything possible to pick up those 500 votes. And the fact of the matter is you did.
Madeline came on your show, right?
She came on once. She came on one time.
Okay, great. She was on your show. The mayor had only been on your show once. And until the mayor saw that there was a possible weakness because of the way you were playing things, she said, let me go.
The way I was playing things, not the way I was playing, the way you played things.
If I watched your show and looked at the interview between you and Mayor Crate, she ran your show the entire time. Every time you were about to come up with a better question, she ran you, right? I mean,
love
you may
it,
disagree,
because
right?
you know why?
So here's a perfect example.
You should have been there to defend yourself. It wasn't my job.
I don't need to.
I pushed back on the mayor.
I pushed back on her. Again,
it's not my job to do your job for you, Mark.
Why would I give her platform? I'm talking about Crate.
She took advantage of it, didn't she?
More elevation.
She took advantage of it,
right? Because I guess it was like me and 3 guys at the cigar shop that were watching your show. And we were the only ones that were
15,000, 17,000. She outperformed her people by 2,000. She stole 2,000 Republican votes, Mark.
and we stole votes away from
2,000
Democrats.
Republican votes.
Do you think that we won this only by Republicans coming out? I truly
you didn't take
was,
any Democrat votes.
I
Stop
believe.
it. Stop it. She sat
we
down
were
in the
told
chair
by
next to me
Democrats
for a
that we were
reason, buddy.
getting. We were told by Democrats that we were getting Democrat votes, right? Because they know those people at a different
It didn't
level.
play out that way. She gained overall votes from last time.
So again, and everybody gained overall votes from the last time.
Right,
because it was a governor's election.
Exactly.
It was a governor's election.
You guys, like I said before, and I don't want to keep rehashing this, but when you downplay and you keep saying this stuff, this is why I called for an app. We need a fresh Republican Party here, because I got to be honest with you, I question all of the leadership that goes on at that Brick Republican Party. I question every single bit of it. I questioned it 2 years ago, and I'm questioning it now.
Well,
and I don't know. What do you think?
In
What do you
terms of
think about this
questions.
new Republican Party that started?
I think it's a joke. I think that if you want
How many members do you have?
Over 100, I think it's right now 130
Wow, that's
members.
a lot out of the what 20,000 Republican registered Republicans in the area, right?
And
it's a lot. Yeah, 100 whole people.
Yeah. Again,
Wow,
we used to have
impressive.
this organization used to have 300 people. But when you're not in power,
So what happened?
when you're not in power, people don't find the interest to be in part of the organization.
No,
which is what we're doing.
When you're a loser, people
Mike,
don't
how
want
are
to
you going to
find.
tell? First off, let me take a step back. You attacked my board, right? And you're questioning my board, which you probably don't even know most of them and their intentions of what they do. The Republican organization has one mission and one mission only, is to get good Republicans elected. We're not going to win everything.
You
and
failed at that.
We learned from what we.
You
Hold on,
failed
let me finish. Let me finish. We will learn from what we did. We already started the day after the election. We met to go over the numbers to look at what we're going to do over the next 2 years, right? We're already formulating our plans and our decisions about how we're approaching things. I don't care about another Republican club or whatever club. They could do whatever they want. They are not going to be recognized by the GOP. They will not get any official formation. They will be an annoyance, just the way they've been trying to do all this other stuff through other groups. They let them do what they want to do. And I know the people that talk to you because they open their mouths too much. And I have people on the other side, on that side
Everyone
too.
talks to me, Mark.
Yeah, and again,
Everyone talks to me, buddy.
I don't care who talks to you. That's perfectly fine. What I do care about is that trying to dismantle or discredit an organization.
You discredit yourself, Mark. You have discredited
You can
yourself
say
for
what
loss after loss after loss after loss.
I haven't
after
been here
loss.
for 10 years, right?
And
So-
you just lost.
And
You lost
I won
twice.
3 seats. Only the 2 elections in the entire state that took seats away from Democrats.
And you,
So
don't
again,
act like that's an accomplishment.
I could say that I'm proud of what we did. There are things that we need to do better. There's never going to be a time where I'm going to say, Mike, we didn't do anything wrong. I don't agree with what you think we did wrong. I think, yes. And number one, I think to say that we gift wrapped Madeline. Madeline showed up. We had a fair interview process. There was people that interviewed. Madeline did a
fair
great
process.
job.
It was a 5-4 vote. You had no primary.
First off, how do you?
It's the same. Listen, I know everything, Mark. I know fucking everything. This is the problem that
That's
everybody
your
has to
problem.
stop.
Look, Mike, that's where your problem is.
The
You
bottom
think
line
you know
is, you guys
everything.
pushed a candidate
Mike,
on the Brick Republicans. And I told you this early on.
Listen,
everybody,
Mike.
you pushed a candidate on. And you guys did not have a really good primary. There should have been there needs to be primaries. There needs to be,
Who primaried against us?
Nobody, because it's only one group of people controlling
Anybody could have primaried
people.
against us. Anybody, you could have ran as the Republican mayor candidate.
And you know what? That needs to start happening. Okay, this is what I'm trying to highlight. Mark, thank you for saying it for me.
Yeah,
Yes,
no, that's never been something anybody's ever
have
had.
a primary for these
Mike,
candidates.
and this is where I get a little.
Pick.
This is where I get a little frustrated with you. And again, I love what you think and what you know, because you assume to know everything, right?
I do know everything. Am I wrong?
Of course, you are wrong.
Like what?
Because if you were to look at the process of what we did this year,
what was I wrong about?
There was a process that has never been done like this before in the Republican organization. It was probably the
way I said it ended, right?
Say it again.
It ended the way I said it ended, correct? I didn't say anything
incorrect. And again, you took a 50-50 shot. You should have went on Kelch and bet on it, right? Who really cares about Mike?
And I was right.
Your problem. And I was right. The other night when someone wrote something anonymous.
I was right.
Mike, again, when someone wrote something anonymous about you, it's all about you, and that's your problem. Your ego is so big. You only know how to focus on what you think is right. There is 1,001 other reasons.
My ego is huge.
1,001 other opinions and other reasons that it's not just yours. And I don't
listen to other opinions when they're wrong,
your thought process, but you're not necessarily 100% correct. You have
No,
no
I
idea
am. What did I say wrong? You still haven't proven that. You said I said incorrect things. What was wrong? Name it.
So again, you are incorrect by the fact that you thought that this was a gift wrapped. We just picked Madeline because that was who we thought was going to win. That was a false statement.
It wasn't. No, you gift wrapped. If I was Mitch Sign and I saw Madeline and I could push off the high tax argument for her, that is a gift to me. If I was going against you, Mark, you gift wrap a perfect with a bow on it. Here, Mitch. We're going to give you a candidate that we could peg high taxes on. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't want this to be an indictment on Madeline. I think Madeline was a great candidate. I think you guys held her back. I think you did nothing to help her out. I think you should have turned her loose. You guys were way too conservative with her. You did not step out and you did not put Madeline in the light that she needed to be put on. She is a powerful leader. And she was a powerful leader on the school board, and you guys put her in a very, very bad position. And I told her that. She knows that. And you guys know.
How do we put her in a bad position, Mike? Because, again, there's another false statement that
I just said it 15 times,
that we held her back. Tell me the one time that I held her back from anything.
Mark, would she sit down and do the first interview with us? You were sitting on that couch right there. The mayor showed up with nobody. She spent more time thinking about what the hell you guys wanted her to say instead of what she actually needed to say. Do you know how many times Madeline said to me, I wish I could say what I wanted to say right now?
Yeah,
it was in the dozens.
And again, that's the crazy part.
And it was you guys holding her back.
No,
that was not a false statement. That is a 100% accurate statement.
False statement. And I'll tell you,
you guys held her back.
False statement. Mark. Again, Mike, this is your ego playing, and you can't hear nothing except what you say.
Fact.
That is a false statement. We never held Madeline back. We, as a team.
Then why couldn't she say what she wanted to say sitting in my chair?
I actually even said that to her. I actually even said that to her after the first interview, Mike. I said, because we had talked about waiting to release certain information later on so that it would play in the strategy later on. She was concerned. And again, some people are good in front of the camera. When the camera turns on, some people struggle, right? And Madeline in front of the camera is not necessarily the best combination. Does it mean that she's not a strong leader? No, it does not. She's a really good leader. The problem is that when that camera came on, she would get too worried about what she needed to say, what she shouldn't say, right? Because again, we know, and she knows, it wasn't about us. It's about what the Democrats are going to do and say it against her. After that interview, I actually told her, I said, you should have said this, or you could have said that. And she was like, oh, but I was worried. And I told her, hold on. And I told her, I said, Madeline, you can say whatever you need to say, right? I created what I called the political Bible that had every detail of our plan that we all agreed upon, that we worked on. I mean, it was a stacked Bible with every little piece about information of this town in there. And she had that. There was nothing in here that was saying that you can't say this, right? Maybe one of the things that we agreed upon not to talk about is DPW salaries. Right? Because if we talk about DPW salaries, people are going to think, okay, if she says, yes, I'm for it, then people are going to say, see, that's the high tax lady. She's going to spend our money and give them all the pay that they want because she's the union president. So you have to look at those things and discuss what you can and cannot say politically, right? Because those are things, but it's not, you can't say it, Madeline, right? There's things that we wouldn't agree on in terms of rebutting certain things because we knew that's playing into the message. Nobody really was talking about it.
Why wasn't multiple people said things to me like this? I can't say this because they have threatened to pull support from me.
Who said that? That's lies. And again, I would challenge those people to come talk to me because never would I. Number one, what strings do I hold over anybody's life? Not one.
I think the leadership in your club holds its strings over everybody, including George Gilmore, who gets everybody jobs in this area. All right, let's not play. Come on. This is the shit that bothers me, Mark, because you guys play this innocent little role. You guys have had control with this. No, the guy who runs your club, the guy who funded everything, the guy who you guys are begging for money is the one that has gotten other people elected. He's controlled Ocean County. He's controlled the Brick Republican Club. Your guys' leadership has been a leadership for a very long time. I like the people personally, but I think it's been bad. And I don't know if you guys have come to grips with why you actually lost in the first place. I feel like it's the same.
422 people, and the majority of them were in senior districts who voted for Mayor Cray. And if I were to make an educated guess based upon that very simple fact, I would say that 422 people, right, said, oh, you know what? I didn't pay attention to nothing, but I do remember Mayor Cray and her name. I'm picking what I remember. It's the same reason why I think Jack Chittarelli. had a leg up in the primaries, because most seniors, when I went to go pick up seniors to drop them off all over Ocean County to go get vote, right? So most of the seniors had no idea who was running, but they remembered Jack Chitterelli's name, right? And so, again, not everybody sits here the way we sit here and consume the information and try to learn the details and debate the ideas. Not a lot of people do that.
I think everyone does, and that's what they're sick and tired of, Mark.
No,
this is what you guys are missing. People
again,
have consumed
if that was the
this
fact,
stuff.
we wouldn't hear the
People
baseless
have
lies
consumed it,
at
and
the doors.
You guys don't see it. No, people are like me. The regular ass brick voter is exactly like me. We have consumed it, and we're sick and tired of it. We're sick and tired of watching it. We're sick and tired of the control. We're sick and tired of the garbage. That's why this vote turned out the way it was. You guys took the council and lost 1,000 votes from your council people for your mayor candidate. And it's an indictment on both of your clubs. It's an indictment on Mayor Crate. It's an indictment on you guys. Us regular ass people are sick and tired. And it's a big number. 53% of the people voted in this election.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of people that didn't vote, man.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a high turnout. Yes, you're right. It was actually a very weird high turnout, because I think people were motivated. You look at Jack. Jack actually had more votes than Murphy last time, but obviously, Cheryl had 400,000 more votes than the other ones. But if you guys can't see that your culpability in what took place here, I wonder if we're going to have a candidate next time that is going to actually put forth any type of fight, or if you guys just given up at this point. Because I don't see you making correct adjustments, correct plans. Sometimes you got to fire the coach, man.
Yeah. And again, the people of our organization voted me in. I don't own anybody. George Gilmore didn't come with a gun, and Ruth Ann didn't come with whips to tell people you better vote for Mark or I'm going to take your jobs away. None of that ever happened. What you just claimed was completely false. And shame on you for doing that, because that's what adds to the fuel of number one, of all conspiracy theories.
Shame on me for what?
For making up a lie. You
don't
just
sit here and tell me that you guys aren't in 100% complete control over that club. Don't tell me that a select group of people don't handle all the finances. Don't you sit here and tell me that George Gilmore is not in control of everybody in the commissioners, and he can get people elected, and he's gotten people jobs, and he holds it over those people's heads. Don't sit here and tell me that, Mark, because that stuff takes place. Everybody knows it. Everybody's known it for a really long time. Your club is riddled with it, and that's one of the problems.
Mike, prove it, because if you could prove it, there would be a
it's
legal
all there.
case. Prove it. There would be a legal case.
Who controls the money in your club?
George has never once, ever. And I'm talking about a kid who used to be a Democrat, is a minority, and thought all Republicans were rich old people that didn't care about people. And I sat with George Gilmore because I didn't agree with him before his first chair race. And I sat with him for an hour, and I had a conversation with him. And then I helped him win his election in 21 for chair. And then I saw him, and never once, because I'm not a rich person. I don't hold a lot of bank. I don't have houses everywhere. I'm not a wealthy or powerful person. I'm a nobody in the scope of the grand scheme. And not once a person who if I took something from him, or I got a job, or he recommended me for something, right? Never once did he ever come and say, Mark, you have to do that, or this is going to happen to you. Never once did he ever force it. And you know what he even tells the candidates? At the end of the day, it's your decision. So your claims are, again, I'm talking about
my claims
us.
are not false, and I will get people to back up my claims.
Get your people to back up your claims. Tell them to come to, tell them to reach out to me. Tell them to reach out to me, because all these people that keep making these claims are the same people that don't ever talk, except go talk behind people's backs and make up lies to create a story. The same way most of these people probably in this new club.
So you're telling me that a felon is completely on the up and up. That's what you're telling me.
I have never seen George do anything illegal. I have never seen George.
This is why he's hating. This is why you guys are losing. This is why you guys are losing. You don't realize it. Yes, you don't realize it, man. Everybody is sick and tired of the Republican Party in this town. And if you guys can't see that, you don't get it, man.
You are beyond false, and you have no idea what you're talking about.
No, I'm not. I guarantee you in the comments right now, I guarantee the people watching know exactly what I'm saying is true. The guy is not liked from Jackson to Toms River to everywhere he's got his hands. Everywhere. And the people of Brick are the Republicans. You Republicans in Bricktown have a serious problem. You have a 73% population that votes for Trump, and they don't vote for you. And there's a reason why.
And you could thank the referendum, and you could thank John Ducey, who did
I thank you guys. You're the Republican club.
Come on,
you put up the candidates.
Mike,
you not? Are you guys not in control?
John
you not put up
Catalano was a
every single
fantastic.
candidate over the
John
last how many
Catalano was
years?
the most fantastic candidate that I've seen in a
And you
long
didn't
time.
put him out there. You didn't do
Are
him
you
justice
kidding me?
either.
He was at every little thing that we could
I
possibly
never
put him
seen
out.
him,
The same
Mark.
way
I never
Madeline was
seen
at
him neither
every
than
little
anybody of my
event.
friends.
The
And you
same
lost
way
by
Madeline was at
3,000
every
votes.
little event in this year in 2024.
And you lost by 400 votes.
We worked over 80+% of the districts. We spent
And
almost
what you're doing
$500,000.
is
We rebutted everything you would have wanted us to do and say. We did it in 23 and we lost by big numbers. And then this year we do it better. And then some reason we should all be kicked out. The club should be fired. This new club should be authorized. And then anything that Mike Caldery says should be the only final say. That to me is a little bit ridiculous and a bit crazy.
No, I mean, if you would have listened to me, you would have won. That's just the bottom line.
I don't agree with that.
400 votes.
I don't agree with that.
And
I
that's
don't
great.
agree with it. Again, anything you think you do is going to be perfect, right?
We're in, Mark. That's why we're in the position we're in.
I think the Brick Republicans, and under my leadership of what we're going to do in this next year, is focus on building grassroots. My goal is to grow, by the end of my first term, is to grow this club to 200 to 300 members, right? Not just show up on election years, to show up every single day. How can we help our community? How can we get involved? How can we help our veterans? What can we do to stay vocal and on top of what's happening in our town, right? The asphalt plant that they want to expand upon, that's going to be something we're going to fight. Excuse me. Right? When we look at the taxes and using 75%, just at the League of Municipalities, you know what they said you should use in a surplus? 5%. We used over 70%. So now next year, when they go back and try to use 60% or more than that, right? Or maybe now they're going to listen because it's not an election year and raise your taxes. And then
they're raising taxes.
You know, absolutely have no choice. And I think, again, I think she made some big raises during Catalano's time because she thought, and they all thought they were going to lose. So pin it on the Republicans for 2 years. And then Democrats would then have another 10-year control, right? That was, I believe, their strategy. But now they have to eat it. And they're going to have to eat more. And again, my focus is not to worry about the petty disagreements. My focus is to simply say, okay, let's grow our organization. We're going to learn from what we did. How can we do it better? Who wants to volunteer? Who wants to get involved? Who wants to be a part of it? Let's grow the organization. I want the people who disagree with me to be part of this, right? Now, there are some people that can't be part of the organization because they're not registered Republicans or they were removed because they broke bylaws and they were offenders, right? So those are different stories. But to the everyday person that's out there, your follower, come. If you can do it better than me, then let's work together, right? There should be no reason why it should just end.
I was trying to work together with you guys. You guys fucked that pretty royally.
So again, I find that funny that you said what you tried to work with us together.
You did. I tried to work with you. I was very nice to you guys. I gave you 2 different interviews. I was very nice to you guys. I treated you very well. I treated you with a lot of respect.
I don't disagree with that. I think that you were very kind. You were very nice.
And I got rewarded by having your guy attack me on my page in an anonymous fashion. And when I asked you about it, I pushed you pretty hard.
I would love to address that.
Yeah, please.
I would love to address that, Mike. Let's address it. So
address it.
So my consultant that we hired, who used to be worked for Mayor Lisa Crate, helped all those people get elected in 23, has helped Democrats throughout Ocean County, is a 2-time Emmy Award winner, gets on my team, right? Without my knowledge or knowing, makes a comment in a reply of a comment. So not a post, a comment, one comment saying,
it wasn't one comment. It was like 7 comments. I think I have them all on.
Again, all I was aware of was the one that you sent me. I don't know about 7 comments, but I know about the one that you sent me.
No, I sent you a message, and I sent the message directly to get you to kind of react the way you did, and you reacted the way you did, and your reaction to it is what bothered me.
Thanks for baiting me, but anyways,
I did 100% baited you. That's what I do.
Yeah, because you baited me on the day of my wife's birthday, and after I told you to stop bothering me, you kept harassing me. And
I kept harassing you.
No, because it's funny because then not only that, when you talk about but I still have that other recording we did. Like okay, that's a friendly
way
to.
Put it out there.
And again, I even tried calling you like a man.
Shit.
I tried to call you like a man, but you said you were making breakfast. So
I did. I sent you that text, and I was in West Virginia on vacation,
cooking
breakfast for
my entire family. You have the time to sit there behind a little screen and
I did
and text
100%. I was texting you.
You can't take a phone call because you know what would have happened in that phone call.
Hey, I'm going to go cook some breakfast.
You know what would have happened in that phone call, Mike? I would have said, Mike, listen. I apologize that happened. It should have never happened because it was never something that I authorized. I would have never made that claim because that would be
that wasn't your response, though.
because you, instead of coming
I
to me and
sent you
saying,
a
Mark,
text message, and your response was,
instead of
"Stop
saying
threatening me. You're not as influential as you think. Go fuck yourself." That's basically what you said.
100%. I stand by that.
Awesome. I love that you do that.
And if you're going to call our people out and you're going to say that the campaign did something, again, the campaign had no. If I ever responded to you in the official capacity of the campaign,
was that guy, yes or no, running your campaign? Was he your number 2 running that campaign? Yes or no?
He was my consultant. He wasn't number 2 running the campaign. He was a paid consultant that worked on messaging. He did help out.
He did a great job for helping you message.
He did a fantastic
you're
job.
right. He did a fantastic
because we went
job.
over we went over by the lowest vote getter, 2,000 and what? It was like 2,007
He
votes.
put you guys in a great situation.
We beat one of the most popular people, Democrat in Ocean County, Heather DeYoung, who should have won by a landslide, unquestionably. Because
you're welcome for that too.
So again, you're telling me that I should have won everything. We all knew.
Yeah, you should have. 100%. You should have. And this was the year to do it. Okay. If your council candidate won by over 700 votes, there's no reason why your mayor candidate didn't win. You had people to break from your mayor candidate, and you know what? After all of this time, Mark, I'm going to be honest with you. After all of this time, I still don't think that you guys have any idea why that actually took place. You just want to argue with me. It's okay. Listen, I got to get going. I got to get to the caltrop.
I just don't agree with the way you think about it. And anyways, just to finish.
What's your final thoughts? Again, this is your time. This is your final statement here.
Final thoughts. I think there's never a point where anybody could ever say that we can't do things better. And I think it's ridiculous when someone says that they know it all. And they should be very wise to understand something very simple. No one knows it all. And if you did, you'd be a billionaire. And if you were a billionaire, you wouldn't be doing a show called The Brick Breakdown. So I encourage anybody, and I encourage people to still watch the show. I encourage you to still do your thing. I encourage you to do whatever you want to do, right? I encourage people to come on to the Brick Republicans, go to brickgop.com, fill out the form, and let's have a conversation. You disagree, that's fine. I may not do things your way right away, but I will listen, right? Because I've taken a lot of feedback from a bunch of different people. People have been doing this for a very long time. I'm going to grow an organization. Anybody who wants to start their own thing, you're not going to be a focus. We're not going to care about what you do. We're working on our mission, our organization, and we care about our people. And so that is my commitment. The nonsense and the noise and the lies and the fake news. And I think the one thing Mike and I could both agree upon is the Short News Network is the best fake news money can buy.
That's terrible. I will 100%
those things are distractions. And unless you are part of it, and this is what I told Mike 2 years ago, unless you are part of it, you're going to be guessing about what we're doing or the truth or the reality of things. So if you want to know the truth, be a part of it. Work with us. We will teach you. You don't know how to be a part of it. You're young. You're out there. We're going to work with you. We're going to work on getting turning point chapters in the high schools. We're going to work on growing our organization and being part of the community, not just during election season. So that's my commitment. The rest of this is all noise. We could debate and disagree, and I appreciate the opportunity to debate and disagree. But we're not going to stop or be scared or fall back because we didn't win the mayor's seat. I'm proud of what we won. I'm proud of the elected officials that are going to be getting up there and working their butts off. And I know in the next 2 years, we're going to win 4 council seats. In the next mayor election, it's done. The Republicans are back, and we're going to fight for the people. And that's what I cared about.
All right, Mark. I said I'd give you the last word, and I'm going to give you the last word. Everybody, this has obviously been a lively debate, and I appreciate it. Listen, I get it. I'll say one thing about this entire thing, Mark. The fact that you came here, you said you would, and you did. That always goes a very, very, very long way with me. So I do 100% respect that. I respect your opinion, and I respect how vehemently you fight for the Republican Club. That I 100% do respect of you, regardless of all of the disagreements or whatever the hell happened. And with your guy, messing with me on my page and with your response, all of that, I respect what you did here today. So I appreciate it. Everybody. That was Marc Vasquez, soon to be president of the Brick Republican Club. From here, everybody, you make up your mind. Am I a liar? Do I spread fake news? Or is what Mark is saying about the Brick Republican Club accurate? I bring you these conversations so you can decide. Thank you guys very much for watching the Brick Breakdown. The Caltrop's coming up. Well, I'm not going to say that because, you're going to, we're live. We are live. Yeah, I forgot about that. So we are live. So the Caltrop's coming up at 8. Be sure to stick around and check that out. It's my nationwide show. Thank you guys very much. Later.